In this video tutorial, we're going to have a look at paragraph formatting options. Okay, so I'm going to open up Word and I'll open up my example document, paragraph formatting. Okay, so this is a really simple document here. I've applied a little bit of formatting, okay, but we're not too interested in the appearance of this as much as how the paragraphs actually work. Now, obviously, appearance is very important, and one thing that I do want is to spread these out a little bit. Now, the most common way of spreading out paragraphs like that is for me to just put in a blank line like that, okay, and that separates up those paragraphs, okay, makes it a lot more readable, okay. However, those blank lines aren't the best things in the world, okay, so we can avoid it. We don't want those blank lines. Now I'm going to go up to introduction there. Remember, first of all, with paragraph formats we don't have to select the entire chunk of text, we just have to be in that paragraph. So I'm going to click on my first paragraph there, introduction, and what I want to do is put a little bit of space between that and the heading above, the cure for the common conflict. So I give it a click. I'm going to head to the paragraph group, and right in the middle of the bottom row there, line and paragraph spacing, drop it down, and at the bottom I can add space before or after that heading. So I'm going to go for add space before paragraph, and there we go. So rather than have a blank line in there, we've just made that line a little bit taller. Now, of course, that's going to be a little bit of a pain if I have to go down and do that on every paragraph. Add space before, okay, especially if it's a very long document. So once I've done it once, I can select that paragraph, double click the format painter, okay, and then I can work my way through copying that format to each of the other paragraphs. Let's do the last one there. Okay, remember to switch the format painter off, and straight away that looks a lot nicer. Okay, now we've got lots of other options when it comes to the paragraph. Okay, so the next option I want to have a look at is the indentation. Okay, so I can click in this large paragraph here, and of course I can go to the paragraph group and indent it, and that paragraph is indented. This is known as a hanging indent. So the paragraph above stays left aligned, and this lower paragraph, the one I had selected, is indented. Okay, we can see that indent on the ruler at the top. Okay, so we can see the indentation markers there. Now notice there's two indentations there. Let's send it back to the left. Okay, and they both go back. The top marker deals with the first line. So if I manually drag that to the right, you can see that only the first line has been indented. Drag it back to the left. Okay, and if I drag the lower of those two triangular markers to the right, the remaining lines go in. So this is known as a hanging indent, and the first one was a first line indent. Again, I could use the format painter to copy that formatting onto the other paragraphs rather than apply it manually. Okay, the square at the bottom allows me to move all of the lines to the right and then back to the left. We can also see we've got a right indent on this side. I can drag that in and change the indentation on the right hand side. Okay, only a single indent marker on the right. So we can change those things manually or directly using the ruler like that, but perhaps a more accurate way of doing it would be to use the paragraph dialog. So I'm going to click in my paragraph there, and I click the options button at the bottom of the paragraph group, and that will take me to the paragraph formatting dialog. Okay, so I can change my general alignment there, left, centered or right aligned or justified. Okay, we're not worried about the outline level at the moment. Down at the bottom I can change the indentation. So left indentation, let's say by 1 centimeter. I can change the right indentation. Let's get that back to 0. Whoops, going in the wrong direction there. Okay, and you can see dragging it back manually on the ruler wasn't entirely accurate. And if I want to hang in or first line indent, I can choose that here. So indent the first line by 1.27 and the remaining lines by 1 centimeter. Let's click OK, and that is applied. Okay, let's go back into the paragraph dialog for that, and I will set it back to 0. We can also adjust the spacing at that point. Okay, so spacing before and after. Okay, so using the little drop down there, it added some space before or after the paragraph. Here we can be a little bit more specific. So I'm going to say I want 3 points before and 9 points after the paragraph. Remember, I've reset the indents at the same time, added a little bit of space, and I click OK, and that applies. Okay, it goes back to the left, and you can see now I've got a little bit of extra space above. Okay, added 9 points after the paragraph, of course, makes this now a much bigger space. So when we apply spacing like that, we do have to make sure that we take into account the spacing that we've applied on the previous paragraphs. Okay, so I'm going to go back in there and remove that. Okay, so 0 before, whoops, and 0 after. Now the line spacing option here allows me to change the spacing between the lines of the paragraph rather than the spacing before and after. So I'm going to go for double line spacing, click OK, and you can see the text in that paragraph is much more spread out. Okay, again, using this little drop down here, I can do that a lot quicker. So I'm going to go for 1.15, and that just spreads that text out a little bit. Okay, so there's quite a lot we can do to the text in a paragraph. Now, moving down a little bit, you can see where my final couple of paragraphs there have dropped to the top of the following page. Now, of course, as I add text to the top of the document here, that will force these lower paragraphs down. Now, I'm not going to add any text, but I am going to simulate that by just moving this identify the problem paragraph down. Okay, so I'm going to just press enter, and you can see that this paragraph has now split. Okay, so a couple of lines at the top of this page, 3 lines there. I'll move it down once more, and you can see the problem now is my title there is at the bottom of the page, whilst its following paragraph is at the top of the next. Okay, and I keep going down like that. Now you'll notice that I'm pressing enter once at that point, but 2 lines have moved down to the top of that page. Okay, and this is known as widow and orphan control. It saves me having 1 line of text at the top of one page or just a single line of text at the bottom of a page. Okay, and we can control that for a particular paragraph. I'll click in this paragraph here by again going to the paragraph dialog, and this time we're going to go to line and page breaks, and you can see that widow and orphan control is selected. Let's deselect it for the paragraph I'm on, click OK, and this time when I move that down, hopefully you can see just 1 line goes to the next page. Okay, and that's what widow and orphan control is meant to prevent. Now actually, I'm going to switch widow and orphan control back on, but another thought about this, when 1 line of this paragraph jumps to the next page, really, I want all of these lines to go. So that paragraph should stay together. Okay, so I'm going to click in the paragraph, go to the paragraph options. I'll switch widow and orphan control back on. But what I want with this paragraph is to keep these lines together. So I'm going to tick that option, keep lines together, click OK, and let's move that down. I'm going to press enter once, and as soon as 1 line jumps, all of those lines move down to keep it company. They keep together. Now, of course, the problem at that point is the title. Okay, so the header for the paragraph has been left at the bottom of the previous page. So let's see what we can do with that one. I'll select that paragraph. I'm going to go up to my paragraph options again, and this time I'm going to tell it to keep with next. Okay, so this paragraph should always keep with its following paragraph. Click OK, and there it is. Okay, so if I backspace, you can see the whole lot jumps up like that. When I press enter, as soon as one line goes, the whole paragraph and its preceding paragraph will go with it, keeping together. This is one of the main reasons why we don't have spaces. Okay, so if I had a blank space in the middle there, okay, let's put that in there. When I move that down, this is keeping with its following paragraph, which is that blank line, of course. So do try and avoid the use of blank lines. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. Look forward to seeing you on the next video tutorial.